Hey, what's up everyone? It's Justin here with Cinematic Souls. Thank you so much for coming by my channel today. I really appreciate it. If you get a second, please click subscribe and like this video. It really means a lot to me. But let's dive into why you came here today, which is, should you buy a OneWheel Pint? So if you're watching the video today, you're clearly interested in some sort of electric vehicle. I will definitely say the OneWheel is a completely unique experience. I've been snowboarding for over 10 years and I can say without a doubt this is the closest feeling I've ever gotten to carving on powder but not actually being on a mountain. Like, no joke, if you're watching the video right now you can kind of see me carving back and forth, and I can say it is just like carving on powder. It's pretty much as close as you can get. So needless to say, if you've ever snowboarded before or you're an avid snowboarder, this board is perfect for you. It's exactly what you're gonna be looking for. I guarantee you'll appreciate it. Now for everyone else that's asking, Justin, I've never actually snowboarded before, I don't know if I'll like this, I'm gonna say that you're probably gonna have to take somewhat of a risk. If you don't have a friend who owns a OneWheel, there are companies out there that can actually rent you a OneWheel to test out. Even though it is kind of costly, it is one way to experience it without the full commitment of buying one. It's important to note that Future Motion has a non-refundable policy once you open the box. So even if you just ride it down the street or even your living room, once you open that box you can't return it. And I think that is a kind of a daunting concept, and I was definitely stuck in that moment as well. And you can watch my other video where I kind of talk about how I ended up with a OneWheel and my full story. But it's important to remember that if you don't like the Pint or any OneWheel, you can just sell it. There's a marketplace that exists out there. It's not going to be hard. If you do a little bit of research on Facebook, you'll see all the OneWheel marketplaces, and you'll see these OneWheels sell fairly quickly. So if price isn't an issue for you and you're just more so concerned about how hard is this to ride, what's the learning curve, Future Motion has actually said that 70% of people who buy a OneWheel are fairly comfortable after about 30 minutes of riding. I think that's a fairly accurate statement. And when you kind of consider the learning curve for other things like riding a bike or skateboarding, most people generally don't pick those up within 30 minutes. So I think that's a pretty great entry level. In terms of really getting to that advanced skill of carving, even for someone like me that's been snowboarding for quite a while, it still took me a few weeks of riding to really perfect it and feel comfortable. I think one of the hardest things for me to learn was actually how to dismount and get off the OneWheel. I remember in the first initial couple of weeks of owning one, going on my lunch break with my friend. He would ride a scooter and I had my OneWheel Pint. We would come to a light and I would attempt to do the simple stop, and I would just be whipping this board like everywhere. It would just go blasting off. I would be losing my balance. It just felt really unsafe to me. I highly recommend that you learn how to do the heel lift instead of the simple stop as soon as you can. It's much more natural. I've gotten the same feedback from my friends that I've taught and shown. They all agree it feels a lot more natural. However, it is going to require a little bit more balance, but I think it's important to perfect that as soon as possible. I think it's very much like snowboarding in the sense that the faster you learn how to stop, the more comfortable you are going to be riding the OneWheel in general and taking more risks in terms of how to carve and turn. Ultimately, I think everyone's experience is going to be somewhat different. So it's just important to note that there is going to be a slight learning curve. While you probably will be able to pretty much ride the OneWheel Pint, straightforward and around a parking lot, it may take some time for you to build up to riding at the local park. As you can kind of see where we've been riding today, there's a lot of foot traffic. and I would recommend that you probably get pretty comfortable riding on the OneWheel Pint before taking it to a crowded area, just because these things can be dangerous to yourself, but most importantly others in your environment, and there would be nothing worse than falling off the one wheel and hitting someone. So take your time and practice at a more secluded area. I'll be posting another video shortly where you'll see me teach some of my friends who have no experience in riding a snowboard, and perhaps that'll give you a little bit more perspective. So just to do a little bit of a recap, if you're comfortable with the price factor and you're willing to take the learning curve and the risk factor of falling off, well then I think you're an ideal person that would enjoy riding the OneWheel Pint. Just like anything that's really worth doing in life, it's going to be somewhat challenging and take you out of your comfort zone a little bit, but with high risk you get high reward. And I will say without a doubt, riding my OneWheel Pint is probably one of my most favorite things to do nowadays, especially with the quarantine and pandemic going on. So hopefully I kind of covered some of the more common questions when it comes to buying a OneWheel Pint. I'll do a deeper dive into the accessories, but if you're still here watching this video, I'll do a quick cover on what I have on my OneWheel Pint. So I purchased the $1,200 package initially that came with the fender, bumper, clear guardrails, ultra charger, and the mag handle. I'll say that I really did end up using all of that, especially really the ultra charger and mag handle. Those really made a difference for me. The fender, which is the top cover of the one wheel, that's also been handy. If you ever ride over puddles or dirt, it kind of splashes back or hits your back foot and it can get kind of messy, so it's nice to have. I also purchased the Cushnug foot pad with TFL grip. I definitely recommend getting this. It allowed me to carve a lot better because it's concave. It allows more contact for your toes and heels on the back foot pad, and the grip itself is just a huge improvement from the original. And lastly, probably my most favorite accessory is the float plate, which you're gonna watch in action right here as I slide out of a nosedive. So what's a float plate? It's basically this really slick plastic polymer that allows you to really slide out of nosedives, which you just witnessed. If I didn't have that, it's more than likely I probably would have just crashed because of the plastic material that's on the bottom of the one wheel isn't very slick, so I recommend definitely looking into the float plate. I'll put a link to all the accessories I have below if you're interested in doing a bit more research and seeing what's out there. But I hopefully have covered some of the questions and concerns you might have had. If not, feel free to drop me comments below if you have questions about anything. More than happy to get back to all of you. So thanks for sticking around and watching this video. I appreciate you coming by my channel. If you get a second, throw me a subscribe. If I can get to 100, I can actually get a real URL versus the one they've kind of generated me right now. So definitely appreciate it. We'll be posting a lot more. I'll be doing another video, as I mentioned earlier, about teaching my friends who have no experience snowboarding, and hopefully that'll give you a little bit more perspective. Another big question that always comes up is whether to buy the Pint or the XR. I'll do a separate video as well covering that. You've probably noticed in the video my friend riding in front of me on a one wheel as well. He actually has the XR. He initially bought the Pint a couple months ago, and then he recently bought the XR, so we'll be able to do a pretty good comparison video for you. And let me know if you end up buying the OneWheel Pint. I would love to hear about your experience and your thoughts. And if you're still hesitant and have any questions, feel free to drop them below in the comments section. Once again, if you get a chance, hit that subscribe and like my video. I'd really appreciate it. And thanks again for swinging by. Have a great day, guys.